Brasil, meu Brasil brasileiro. O Brasil, samba que dá bambolear e faz gingar. O Brasil do meu amor, terra de nosso Senhor. Brasil, Brasil, esse coqueiro que dá coco foi onde amarro a minha rede nas noites claras de luar. Esse Brasil lindo e trigueiro é o meu Brasil brasileiro, terra de samba e pandeiro. Brasil, pra mim, Brasil, Brasil.
Balotelli's there!
Say something, I'm giving up on you.
It's Luis Suarez, it's 2-1 Uruguay. England down and nearly out. They need favours now.
Say something.
Luis! Costa Rica have knocked England out without even playing them.
Dear, oh dear. Right, let's do everything we can to put the horrors of all that behind us and look forward instead. Welcome back to Brazil. On the day we want to see England finish on a positive note and give us some hope that the next couple of years are going to be rather more enjoyable than the last couple of weeks.
Every England fan hoping that this time it will be different.
Use the man to take us forward.
We've got to stay confident, keep believing.
I do have great optimism.
Got to go to the qualifiers for the Euros with a fresh mindset.
I think you'll see the embryo of a really good English national team.
This afternoon, England face Costa Rica at the Stadio Mineirão in Belo Horizonte. While Costa Rica, improbably, can look forward to the knockout stages now, England head home tonight. Despite the gloom, England fans are here in numbers and in commendably high spirits. We salute them all. As for Roy Hodgson and his squad, we can only assume they're happy to have put the last 4 miserable days behind them. For some, this match may well be a swan song. For others, the beginning of long, hopefully more fruitful and happy England careers. With us for this one, Lee Dixon, Ian Wright and Glenn Hoddle, who remains the last English England manager to taste victory at a World Cup finals just 16 short years ago. While England's sorry fate is long sealed elsewhere in Group D, Uruguay must beat Italy to take the second spot and send Italy home. Costa Rica are through, and a draw would see them finish top. If you want to watch that Italy-Uruguay game, it will be live on ITV4, kicking off at 5 o'clock. Between now and then, we'll have the build-up on both channels, and then we'll go our separate ways just before the teams come out. We've seen quite enough of Luis Suarez. Get rid of him. Thank you very much, Glenn. So, what do you want to see from England today?
Well, I think this is the start of the Euros. This is the plan for Euros. The FA have come out and said they're staying with Roy, which is great. This is the start of it now today. The youngsters that he's put in, I want to see them really play with a lot of pride, but really play, Adrian, as they play for their clubs. We know how well they've played for their clubs. The pressure isn't quite on them. So let's see if they can relax and get out there and really do justice. But it is important that we win as well and send the fans home happy.
Sorry, I was just going to say, to go with the gaffer there, I think that it would be nice to win. I think we lost the games by such narrow margins, just such little mistakes, that I think that people are disappointed, but they haven't got anyone to really point their fingers at. And I think if the boys can go out with a good win in this one, it could be like I said.
It's been a lonely old few days for him. He's surrounded by people supporting him, but just seeing him on the pitch in Belo Horizonte today, There he is, all on his lonesome, sort of an apt metaphor for how it must be as England manager.
He might need that. He might need a bit of time on his own. He's a figurehead. There's a lot of pressure on him, as with the players. But it might be why he's out there on his own, just breathing it in, sampling the World Cup in a slightly different environment on his own, looking at the pitch and his own thoughts. And you do feel sorry for him because it's not gone great for him result-wise, performance-wise, and moving on. I think it's a stepping stone for England now, and we've got to look at the youngsters coming through. But it's more about the pattern of play for me. We've got to have. It's no good making 9 changes and then playing a different way. I think you've got to come in. The players coming in from the bench have got to play in a similar way with that attacking flair that we've seen in the first 2 games.
And also, they're coming up against a different system that they've not played against. Yeah. If Costa Rica stay the same with the 5 at the back when they're defending, and certainly when 3 at the back when they've got possession, that will cause us a few more problems. But we can cause them problems as well with our pattern of play. So, absolutely spot on.
Performance or result, what do we go for? To reduce it to an absurdity? Do we play well again and lose again? Or do we play like drains and get a win?
Let's be positive, let's get both.
Yeah, we'll try and get both, but result for me.
Let's be negative, and I'll say result. Well, I think we do need a big result in order to go into the next, the next tournament and the qualifying, and leave this World Cup with at least something, 3 points.
Absolutely.
OK, we'll hear from Roy Hodgson shortly, but first, Gabriel sets the scene for us in Belo Horizonte.
Well, it's a beautiful day, a wonderful stadium, and around 6,000 England fans are here. All of them, of course, didn't expect to be watching a farewell match. The challenge for Roy Hodgson and his players is to try and finish with a flourish. Hodgson named his team yesterday, and his confirmation of that 11. There is a sense of the page being turned, with Steven Gerrard and Frank Lampard expected to retire this summer. In a 4-3-3, Ross Barkley and Jack Wilshere start together in midfield for the first time. Luke Shaw, just 18, becomes the second youngest English player at a World Cup after Michael Owen. Only Cahill and Sturridge keep their places from the team that started against Italy and Uruguay. Costa Rica win the group with a draw. There's no easing off for them. Just 2 changes. Miller at centre-back and Brenes in midfield. From the side that shocked Italy, Joel Campbell of Arsenal and Brian Ruiz of Fulham have starred for them, but they've had no weak link yet. Well, the Costa Rica coach, Jorge Pinto, said yesterday, it's unthinkable that England, the mother of football, should leave a World Cup without having won a single point. And perhaps the result is more important for Roy Hodgson than the performance today. And a few minutes ago, I spoke with the England manager. Roy, I know it's been a tough few days for you and the players, but what have you emphasised to them ahead of this game?
The importance of it for them as individuals, the importance of it for us as a team. It's been a very, very disappointing time here in Brazil. We're very, very dejected still, but here's a chance today to give another good performance at least, and leave ourselves hopeful that we can give plenty of good performances in the future.
In a way, though, is the result, just taking something in terms of points, more important than the performance?
I don't know. I think you've always got to think about performance. We've got a qualifying campaign coming up over 2 years. There's been a lot of changes in the team since 2012, and this squad, I think, has got the basis of being a squad which could take England forward over the next period of years. So I think it's important for them to not just get a result in the game, but also to play well and to show that my faith in them, bringing them here in the first place and giving them a game in the World Cup today, has been justified.
Well, you mentioned that Steven Gerrard, Frank Lampard might not be here the next time you pick a squad. So what do you want to see from Ross Barkley, from Jack Wilshere?
Well, everyone at home knows how well they've done since they burst onto the scene. I mean, Jack's been around much longer, but has been hampered by injury. But Ross, he took the latter part of the Premier League by storm. Everyone was actually clamouring for him to play every game, or a lot of people were. So, today it shouldn't be a surprise to anyone that he gets that game, because in the beginning that's what a lot of the pundits and people who understand football were suggesting should happen.
Thank you, Roy. Good luck.
Thanks, Gabriel.
Roy Hodgson. So what does this ex-England manager think of this policy of just giving everybody a game before we go home? You're a bit scathing when I first told you about it, having just got back from the press conference.
Well, I think, for instance, I'll just give you an example. I think I said at the top of the show, this is a preparation for the Euros. Now, if Frank Lampard, for instance, is going to quit in a week's time, and that's an individual thing between Frank and the manager, there's no reason why Frank should be playing today. And that's harsh on Frank, who I've loved as a great career. If he's going to go back to a Premier League club, If he's not going to go to America and he says, yeah, I'm still going to be fit, that's a different story. Frank should be playing today, yeah, I can understand that. But this is, for me, as a manager, preparation for the start of the Euros and getting these youngsters to get this experience out of the way to a certain degree. They've got a World Cup game under their belt, that's for sure, that's great. So, you know, we do need, when it comes to qualifying, experience around the kids. But today, for me, it's about planning for the future.
That's where I was just going to ask Glenn the same question, because from a player's point of view, within a squad, I think the players be quite happy that players are going to go away from this having played in the World Cup. And I think whether Roy's giving them that little gift and saying, OK, I want everyone to play in the World Cup and sample it, the players, I think, say, yeah, I want to play. But from a manager's point of view, he's already looking ahead. I think players look really from game to game, as opposed to Roy's perhaps doing that for them. But I think as an ex-manager, you're looking at it and saying, you know, we should be planning already, which is a different scenario.
We better just put the team up and have another look at it now. Who are going to be the backbone of the England team in the future of the players starting today? At last we've got Lallana starting, which is nice to see.
Well, we thought Lallana would start the World. We all did. Thought Lallana would start the World Cup, the friendlies in Miami, and he's been the one surprise for me that he hasn't played more of. And I think obviously Barkley, he's going to have a big future. Jack Wilshere struggled with injuries and he's got a future. But
Henderson might have a shout in there to do holding that role. He's about as close as we can get to somebody who's doing that holding role. He might be involved. And you've got to say Cahill and Jagielka will still most probably be there. Maybe Stones could get half a shout.
What I like is the shape. If this caption's right and Roy does go with this V in midfield, then Barkley and Wilshere will be allowed to get themselves in and around the penalty box, and I think we'd have be a bit closer to Sturridge and get a little bit more goal threat. You know, it was down to Rooney or the one off the front, whoever that is, to go in there, and Steven Gerrard and Henderson played very deep. I like the fact if we do go this way, then it's that we got some support to Sturridge.
And also playing against Costa Rica, if they do play with three at the back and their full wing backs pushed on, you can get 2v1 down the sides, which is always playing against a sweeper, if you like. You can always outnumber them down the wings.
So, like we said, after Italy, Pirlo was the difference, and after Uruguay, it was Suarez was the difference. And are we going to be tell me we're not going to be sitting here and we've lost 2-1 and say, well, if we'd had Joel Campbell playing for us, then be fine. I mean, can we look after him?
Hey, they've been very, very impressive. Yeah. I mean, we've all knew about the Colombians possibly and the Mexicans all getting Chile, but this has really been, this team's been the surprise of the tournament. Diaz, Campbell,
the left
Ruse, they've got some really, really technical players. And Pinto has drilled them fantastically well, playing in a 5 and then a 3 when they've got the ball. And they know the system, and they're caught the problem.
They've also got the benefit now of topping the group and having the confidence that they didn't have when they came in the tournament.
Coming up next, we'll look back at a big old night here in Brazil, where there was a heady mixture of relief and sheer joy at a handsome win, albeit over hardly the strongest opposition, but the hosts are now definitely up and running.
Brazil, Brazil.
Welcome back. England are in Belo Horizonte up against the jubilant Costa Ricans. This stadium was the scene of an infamous defeat to the United States at the 1950 World Cup. A loss to Costa Rica today wouldn't be quite as shocking, although you suspect the reaction would be somewhat more vitriolic. Last night, Brazil came to a grinding halt as the host nation faced Cameroon, with Brazil looking to confirm their place in the knockout stages and put in a performance to suggest that they can go on and win the tournament here on their own turf. So Brazil win the group and will now face Chile in the next round. Mexico will have to try to get past Holland. Just looking at the newspapers here today, relief everywhere. You can see from this one, Chile and Brazil are sort of winding each up already. That will be a great occasion. Alem do Horizonte, that is Neymar looking into the distance, and he likes what he sees, obviously. The nation obviously likes him. They love him. Here's my favourite headline. Upa, upa, Neymar, it says. and upa is a hug. OK?
Right.
So now we know. Useful vocab for all of us. So, Neymar, what did you make of him last night then, right?
Yeah, well, he's their top man. I think he's come and he's under a lot of pressure here, you know, with what Brazil are trying to achieve here. And I think he's turned up, to be honest. He's scored goals. He seems to be their talisman.
I think you do well. We're looking at players in the tournament so far. For me, the standout player has been Robin, still for the Netherlands. I think he produced another set-up goal yesterday, and I just think he's been the one. I've been really impressed with Holland. They've had 3 different types of games, really easily won against Spain, then struggled a bit against Australia, and then tactically had that Chile game. But Robin, for me, is the one who stood up.
Would you go along with that, Glenn?
Well, I think Brazil turned up. I think the team that finished, if they play that team going forward in this tournament, then they're going to cause people problems. And the reaction, AD, we're in the hotel watching the game, and the reaction was different to the other games they've had. I think the flair that they showed, the goals that they scored, particularly the last one, the place went nuts in the hotel, around the streets. And that's the pressure Brazil have. They have to win, but they have to win in a certain way. Yeah. There was little bits of flavours of it, but I still say...
doesn't turn up, and so they've still got players that could still raise their game a bit.
We talk about Brazil, though, I just can't get David Luiz out of my head. Yeah. You know, because every time he's in near the 6-yard box, something seems to happen against Brazil, and there's a chance. So, I think he will cost them at some point.
Fans and the media are the same all over the world. Everything's brilliant or terrible. It's like that at home. It's like that here. Now, it was all very worrying, terrible, getting hissed in a couple of times in the previous matches. Now, everything's brilliant. But they have only played Samba football against Cameroon. Yes. I mean, they've got it all to prove yet.
Exactly. And there was they had an Achilles heel there. I mean, as you say, they've got Alves, Marcelo and David Luiz, who haven't got real defensive instincts. Only Thiago Silva has got real, genuine defensive instincts. I think a better team will find them out. But they might get beat 5-4.
OK, let's go to Matt Smith now, shall we? He's at the Estadio Mineirão in Belo Horizonte alongside Spurs and England's Andros Townsend, who no doubt would have been part of the England squad but for injury.
Thank you, Adrian. Yes, a warm welcome to Belo Horizonte. A touch of Mad Dogs and Englishmen today. Andros Townsend, it is a hot day and we'll get to that in a moment. First, though, the debate in the last couple of days about what it means to play for England, perhaps particularly for younger players. What does it mean to you?
Well, I can only speak for myself, but I can say that every time I've stepped on the field wearing the 3 Lions, I've been realising a childhood dream, and it's been a real honour for me. And I don't think many people can deny that every time I have played, I've given my all, and I've given my all for the shirt, and I've wanted to play for England.
Yeah. So when you made your debut, perhaps this misconception from some that it's almost an inconvenience in the lifestyle. Let's try and put that to bed a little bit.
No, of course not. You're very privileged if you get called up to represent your country. And for me, I was in a position where I was there, fortunately, through an injury to someone else, unfortunately for him, of course. But it was my chance, it was my one chance to kind of go there and stake a place in the team. And I really had to go out there and give it my all, and thankfully I did that.
Now, this game is, I suppose, something of a double-edged sword, but I would imagine the team that Roy's picked will be really keen to make an impression, to go home with pride to some extent restored.
No, I think first of all you want to win every football match, and I think you can see how many English fans there are that have paid good money to come to Brazil and to watch their team. So first of all you need to win for the fans, and second of all, these young players like Luke Shaw, Ross Barkley, they're playing for their futures. They need to really show the manager that they're the players to take England forward into the 2016 qualifiers.
Now, I think it's roasting and it'll be tough. You actually quite like playing in the heat.
Yeah, I don't mind it. I think you're more upbeat, you feel good about yourself. I know that sounds weird, but you wake up in the morning, you see the sunshine, you just can't wait to get going, and it makes you feel good about yourself.
So England with a job to do, albeit under roasting skies. Back with us, I hope, in just a couple of minutes.
Thanks, Matt and Andros. What do you make of the Harry Redknapp comments about players not necessarily wanting to play for England?
If it's true, it's sad. Very sad. Obviously, Harry had players, that perhaps didn't want to go. I think it would be the players that feel they're not in the team.
But what about in your time, though?
Oh, never. No, I never experienced that one iota with any player that turned down playing for his country. And
if Glenn had picked me, I would.
We're going to let that go.
I'd have been straight out.
We've got to let that go. We've got to let it go. It's gone.
When we return, we'll hear from Steven Gerrard, who, man and boy, has given his all for England, but may now decide that enough is enough.
I do feel I've got a lot more to offer as a footballer, but I have to decide You know, whether that is to remain as an international player as well as being a Liverpool player, as well as playing Champions League.
Welcome back to Brazil, where England are preparing to face Costa Rica in Belo Horizonte, hoping to avoid a third straight group stage defeat. Gerrard and Gerrard having a hug and kiss then. Sturridge will lead the line, but behind him, many changes. A lot of the squad players getting a game today. Yes, we get the message, we're trying, we're always trying. Nothing's been more painful for England fans to behold than the sight of poor Steven Gerrard in utter despair this week. Gabriel Clark's been speaking to the skipper, who describes himself now as broken.
Someone's going to win this tournament.
At a World Cup, nothing moves faster than a team that's just been knocked out. 2 hours after their final training session in Rio, and England's base camp was already a monument to another broken dream.
Yeah, we're not one of the favourites, but we've got good players, we've got a good team. If we stick together and perform well, who knows?
And worst of all, genuine hope.
I believe it will be different because I do think we'll be more equipped this time.
A week after issuing that rallying call, and Steven Gerrard was facing up to the biggest disappointment of his career.
Yeah, it is. I was very optimistic. Even after the Italy game, to some degree, I felt very positive the way we attacked and how close we ran them in that first game. But for it to all end a game later against Uruguay was a bitter pill to swallow.
It's come off Gerrard, and Suarez is in here. It's Luis Suarez. It's 2-1 Uruguay. A mistake by the Liverpool captain.
Steve, you're going to go away and have a think about your future with England. What is going to influence that decision most of all?
A lot of things. A lot of things are going to influence it. I just don't think the timing's right to make it now. In an emotional position, we've just got knocked out of a World Cup and underachieved. Still feeling a lot of pain and hurt from that. It would be a rash decision if I made it now. Steven Gerrard, midfielder.
Gerrard has earned his thinking time. At 19, he was running the engine room in England's only tournament win over Germany since '66. A symbol of the flawed golden generation. But 15 years of solid service have taken him to within touching distance of history. 2 more caps, you equal David Beckham's record. 3 more, you are the outfield record holder.
Yeah, I appreciate that, and you know, if I was a selfish person, my answer would be I'm 100% staying on because I want to beat David Beckham and I want to beat Peter Shilton, but I don't know. They would be unbelievable achievements. Can this squad of players do well in 2 years' time at the next tournament? And the answer to that is yes. And then you think about the manager, has he got the credentials to manage this group of players? And I believe so he is. If I didn't, I'd be honest and tell you that I didn't think he was the man to go forward. I think we've ran two teams who are ranked above us very close. The fight that we showed in the 2 games is positive, and I think that will get better over the next 2 years.
Do you blame yourself? Are you hard on yourself?
Yes, I think if you're going to play for Liverpool and England, you'd have to be brutal with yourself. The day I stop being hard on myself will be the day I stop playing football completely.
Hodgson wants his captain to continue, but Gerrard couldn't dictate games at this World Cup. And before it, he was frank about what his England career had added up to.
I'm not going to sit here and call myself a legend, am I, when I haven't achieved anything for England.
Which is a good reason to carry on. But Steven Gerrard is wise enough to know when he's outstayed his welcome. Is there a sense that you don't want to go out on this sort of low? Will that influence things as well?
Possibly. You know, it is a low, a terrible low to finish your England career on. But I have to look at the big picture. I have to look at the future and decide what's right for me and what's right for my body. That's what it'll come down to. I do feel I've got a lot more to offer as a footballer. But I have to decide, you know, whether that is to remain as an international player as well as being a Liverpool player, as well as playing Champions League. At the same time, I want to be as respectful as I can to Roy and to England. So they're the questions I've got to ask myself moving forward.
I know Roy wants him to stay, but he didn't want to beg him, doesn't want to put pressure on him, said it'd be the wrong thing to do. But I don't know, you want him to stay. What arguments would you use if you were begging him to stay? What would you tell him?
He's still our best passer of the ball. And I think the way that he plays for his club, and certainly when he, not the last game, but if he plays as a pivot for England, he could play that for another 2 years quite easily. He is still the best passer, long and short, that we've got, particularly long and changing of the play. And I think that's what you need in international football. We've got a lot of players that can play in short areas, Wilshere, Barkley, Lallana, but we still need the balance and the changing of play. So that, and for me, he's a leader, and we're not blessed with leaders.
Okay, but what would you say to him when he said to you, "Look, I've got the Champions League to think about with Liverpool. I've got the end of my Liverpool career. I'd like to achieve something there. I've given a lot to England. I just can't do it anymore. I can't do it all." What would you say?
I would understand that. I would, and if he, there's only Steven Gerrard that's going to make that decision. Roy will want him. I think that, most people in football would want him to stay on because we need him. Your country needs
I feel that's what I'd go. I'd go the patriotic route with him. With the youngsters was coming through, he's quite infused by him. He's constantly talking about how excited he is by him. He could still lead them. And, I still think he's got a lot to offer. But like he says, it's the Champions League and all that sort of stuff. But that's the way I try and go around it with Stevie Gerrard.
We shouldn't forget Frank Lampard, his service to England through thick and thin. He's slightly older than Stephen, isn't he? So I assume this will be the end for him. But what a servant he's been.
Absolutely, and those goals that he scores from midfield, we could have done with a couple of them in this tournament. I think he's been a brilliant servant, and the pair of them really have served their country admirably. And I think that experience in the dressing room is invaluable. I think people sometimes who maybe don't play or not been in dressing rooms as such don't look at that as a value. I think managers do. Glenn will tell you, if you've got one or two players who the youngsters, just even looking at them when they're lining up in a tunnel to go out, just looking at a little nod and see the calmness, that in itself is doing the manager's job for him.
At no stage could you ever imagine them saying, "Look, Gaffer, get me out of this. I'm not going to play for England." They were always there.
No, absolutely not. No way. I believe like someone like Frank as well, depending on what he does, where he goes, if he's in and around the Premiership, if he's still around the Premiership, he will still want to play for England.
But could you ever imagine yourself not playing for? You play now. You got the call now. You'd limp.
I would do with my fused ankle, because it means the world to me. It meant the world to me to play for England. But, getting into the game as late as I did, I didn't think at the time I would have got there. But it was all about the hard work, and it's one of the abiding memories that I will take from this one is watching David Villa. He's played his last game, Spain's record goal scorer, World Cup winner. Remember, Spain went through many years of mediocrity themselves with great players. But to see the fact that he's now going to have to retire from international football, he's crying. That's what it should mean to you. You've served your country as well as you can. You're going to stop now because you have to stop. For me, you shouldn't be able to retire. You stop when the country doesn't need you anymore.
In terms of one thing England should have done better, Glenn, you've been banging on about this with respect from back in Miami. You're explaining to me with glasses on tables in bars about needing to overlap and go down the side. Take us through it again.
I just think there's certain games where we have asserted ourselves, and it's been small margins against Uruguay and Italy. But the one glaring thing that I can see, I hope I see today, is the movement from our width. Our width is coming from our fullbacks, not our wingers. And at times we need our wingers wide so our fullbacks can play to and get round. And little runs like we're saying again, little blindside runs, but we're coming back behind the ball and it's coming back inside all the time. Look at the widest player, and then it's down through the eye of a needle again. The widest player, Sterling, it goes to our fullback, Glenn Johnson. There's no width there whatsoever. And it's an eye of a needle. And fullbacks sometimes can give us the width, but they need wide men to play to, and then we make movement off that wide berth. And that's when you get round the back of people. We've scored our goals by getting round. Rooney got round the back and put that cross in. Glenn Johnson got past the 18-yard box. Okay, it was a cross come tackle. That's where we get our two goals from. Sturridge has got round a few times, but if you don't make overlaps and those movements in the last third, you don't get round the back of them.
As well, Gaffer, I think we've got to point out the fact that Daniel Sturridge, for that goal, what Glenn Johnson set up, he'd done a bit of skill where he took on 2-3 players in a little instant. I think that with our players who have the ability to do that, they should be encouraged to try and do that, because Daniel Sturridge, a little bit of skill, bang, he's put Glenn Johnson in. We've got to start to encourage more of our players, our technical players who can play like that, to get on with it and do stuff like that.
That space first.
Yeah.
Then they've got even more space, like Wilshere and Berkeley in that central area. If we keep coming back inside and then going through an Ivor Needle, it's not our game. It's not what we're good at.
Briefly, is Sturridge the man to lead the line for England over the?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah, and I've said it from the start that, you know, given the opportunities, he will score. He's got that confidence, and I think he's got the swagger now.
OK, let's get back to Belo Horizonte now for more from Matt and Andros.
Yeah, welcome back to Belo Horizonte, the England squad warming up behind myself and Andros. We heard just a short while ago there from Steven Gerrard, if it is the end of the road for him and Frank Lampard with England, how big an influence have they been, would you say?
Yeah, I think it'll be disappointing if both do decide to retire from international football. I think both collectively they've won everything there is to win in club football. So their experience and their leadership on and off the field will be missed. I know before I made my debut, 5 or 10 minutes or so, when you came in after the warm-up, they both just came over and kind of just reassured me. They both said, we know what you can do, you're good enough, you've shown for Spurs how good you are, just go out there and play your normal game. And even though, I've said it before, but even though I'm not a nervous person, it was just nice for people like that, Steve and Frank, to kind of do.
From the manager's point of view, we've seen a little bit of Roy Hodgson just walking around. There's a sense of a forced smile on his face. It's a difficult day in some ways for him, but if you finish with a win, I suppose you can go home with positive thoughts, maybe, in some senses.
Yeah, it's a difficult day for him, but today he's picked a young squad, and I think if we win, it will kind of not only give the manager, it will give everyone that kind of belief that we're going places and the future is bright for English football.
And there's a lot, we've said this a lot, there's many young players perhaps looking at the next 2-4 years and beyond. For this to have been such a chastening, difficult couple of weeks, what do you take from that as a player? What do you take from defeats and problematic periods? You learn a lot from those.
Yeah, well, it makes you stronger, doesn't it? I think even though it's not been successful, these players have still played in the World Cup. And these young players at 18, 19, 20 to have played in the World Cup, it's just solely going to benefit England in the future.
Well, we appreciate your contributions. I know we've stood here a few times and you've been itching to get on the pitch. Hopefully that will come in the not too distant future.
Fingers crossed.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's hope we all finish with a flourish, shall we?
Here to that. When we return, the teams will be on their way out in Belo Horizonte, as England do aim to bow out of the World Cup with a flourish, as Matt said, against Costa Rica. That match is going to be live on ITV for you. We salute the England fans, their efforts in getting there. Meanwhile, ITV4 will be at the Estadio das Dunas in Natal for Uruguay versus Italy. They'll be slugging it out for a place in the knockout stage. Luis Suarez and Uruguay must win to go through. That match is live on ITV4. There's a clear blue sky over Belo Horizonte, but the mood's going to darken still more for England if they contrive to make it 3 defeats out of 3 at this World Cup before they head home. Costa Rica are the opponents today. Oh, let's just hope they can do something. You're going with your head and your heart here, Lee. What do you think's going to happen?
I want to go with my heart and come out of the tournament with 3 points and a win. I want a clean sheet. Will we get that? I don't know. I think they're an exciting side, and they've got the bit between the teeth, and I think they will score. So I think we're in for I'm going to go a 3-2 win. See, I'll give you a score and everything.
Great.
I don't know.
Get your money off that if you got it on that. He never gets it right.
I don't know. I just think that they've beaten Italy, they've beaten Uruguay, and I think England's always a massive scalp for people to take. And that's another thing what the boys have got to understand. People are desperate to beat us. Look how Italy played against us. Yeah. Then look how they played in the second game. Look the same with Uruguay.
How much pressure for a score?
I'm going to go with heart.
Yeah.
Score?
2-1.
Okay. That's another score to avoid then, if you're off down the bookies. And
I just want these youngsters to express themselves. Hopefully they've had the right guidance to what shape they're playing in and how we counteract that. But I really feel this might end up a draw.
OK, your commentators at the Estadio Mineirão for England, Costa Rica are Andy Townsend and Clive Tildesley. Sturridge got it in the throat from Godin against Uruguay, and he gets it here and could not given, so that chance went begging, as others did too. So the table as it stands has Costa Rica, who look alarmingly ordinary against England today, going through on top, with Italy joining them by virtue of their 0-0 draw as it stands at half-time against Uruguay. They'll be in the next game if they do go through. They won't have Balotelli with them because he's picked up his second yellow. It might arguably be actually a straight red. It's his second yellow of the tournament, this one. Yes, I think that probably is a yellow card. He sees the funny side, that Pereira doesn't. So, what do we think of it so far, Glenn?
Well, a lot better. I think we've got ourselves in dangerous positions. We've had far better movement. Barkley and Lallana, particularly Lallana, has made some lovely runs in behind, and Frank Lampard's hit a few wonderful balls as well. But you know, there's a bit of hope. But for me, you know, at the other end of the pitch, we've got to be better at getting through the pitch. Our distribution from the centre halves and our back players, when spare people are in there, is not so good at this moment in time. We must improve on that. But going forward, a lot livelier, a lot more freedom in our play.
Some nice footwork on the edge of the box, which led to the penalty shout. Let's take a look at that and work out whether it was a penalty. I think
some ref might give a foul inside the box. Why should it be any different? Having said that, as a defender, I think he's, you know, kind of just eased his way in, and you say it was a good challenge, but ref could have give it easy.
We talk about small margins, and what Ian's saying is a small margin. If he puts that ball where he wants it on his right foot, it's not his favoured foot, but you go and get that choice when you're that close to the goal.
Exactly.
Puts it on his right side and protect it. That's in the back of the net.
Let's have a look at some of the positive stuff England have played.
Yeah, I think there has been positive stuff. They've got into some areas that,
because of their shape, we can identify that there's a hole in there behind them two central midfield players.
Yeah, but maybe it's because, like with Pirlo, they're going to do everything for him. I don't think we're used to doing that. We're not actually even looking maybe to get it in there, and that's what we should be looking more of.
We've got some strength in depth in the goalkeeping department. There was a very fine shot here and a great save in.
Yeah, well, to be honest, I tipped.
It's really good Beckham-like, isn't it?
It was. Yeah, it's a good touch.
From Foster's
just
point,
enough.
His feet movement is all about that. He makes that save because he's actually got 3 steps in. If you do 1 step, he misses that. His footwork was excellent there.
OK, we'll take a break. England fans in numbers again. Flight 12 on 2000. OK, nicely done, sir. We'll be back shortly. Priceless. Uruguay picked Italy to second qualification place. Controversial Godin scored the only goal at the end of the play, at the end of the group stage. Costa Rica top it, and Uruguay come in second. Italy and England going home. We better go out and find Fabio Cannavaro, see if he's all right. Let's see if Roy Hodgson's all right. Here's we go. There's Roy Hodgson. Just feel a sense of so 0-0, you know, can't really despair, nothing to be particularly happy about either, Glenn.
Well, I mean, Roy was doing his best to look at all the positives, and there was some positives there. As you said, Sturridge, you know, if he had his shooting boots on another day, could have ended up with a hat-trick. But he's got to keep getting in there, as Ian will tell you. But, you know, we were in control in long periods of that game, and we got ourselves in great areas and opportunity. But, you know, this was a Costa Rican side who had already qualified and were not at full throttle and were there for the taking, and that's just a disappointment. It would have been lovely to send them fans home with a win.
When you say England on another day, that should be the motto for this trip, shouldn't it? On another day, it might all have been different. Dicko confidently predicted 5 goals. Lee, what went wrong?
Well, I did say with my heart, my head, I had 0-0. Right. I was hopeful, and the performance was good enough. You know, I think Roy, obviously, there's been a lot of negative stuff going on with the results, but I think it was a positive result. Costa Rica weren't at the game today, really. They were just thinking about the next round. So take a lot of pluses defensively, shaky at times, but I think there was a lot of pluses in midfield for me, which we haven't had before.
I was quite disappointed Adam Lallana got taken off just as he was like to get a little bit of getting a bit of headway in the game. I found him and Luke Shaw started to link up a bit, and made a great run, nearly got across into Daniel Sturridge, and in the next thing he got taken off. It was just, I'm just disappointed on that particular front. But in the main, like we say, Costa Rica didn't really come to play properly. They didn't do anything.
Elsewhere, there was a really eventful match in Natal for good but mainly bad reasons. Uruguay picked Italy to the second qualification place. If Italy had gone through, Balotelli wouldn't have been playing. It doesn't really matter now. That was his second yellow of the tournament. The screen, you see them both going down. Now, I'm pretty sure that's a nibble. We've tried to exonerate him, just like on Ivanovic and on other incidents in the past. There. So Suarez, then, what is left to say about them?
The thing is, you almost can't believe this because you think you can't do it again. And all the pictures we've seen so far are...
Yeah, but maybe in that instant, but I feel like in this, maybe like the Ivanovic, I think Ivanovic was getting the better of him, and he's getting more and more frustrated. And obviously, he's done that, but like I can't.
But that's why, because it's been so prominent last time, you look at it and go, he can't have done that, surely. You don't believe the pictures you've seen, but he actually, he's put his mouth to his shoulder now.
In a World Cup that's been absolutely fantastic, the last thing we want as a tournament is to see that, and kids to see that on a football pitch. I don't know if video evidence is in this World Cup or not, 100% sure on that. If it is, he has got to be banned. You can't have that example.
I know. Can I just say for Suarez, you know, he's come into the game against England, he's shown everybody what he's capable of. Looks like he was on the brink of maybe a massive move. The guy has got some serious problems, man. To be doing that in the World Cup, you know, it's just, I can't, I'm gutted for him because, like, I think that that's going to, if they prove that right, because I don't know, I think the guy's got problems, particularly. I think for him to do that in there, in the World Cup, after the seasons he's had, he's kind of kept his nose clean.
Surely cannot feel sorry for somebody doing that.
Well, to be honest, I feel sorry because, like, he's obviously not in control of something. And
for me, there's kids watching all around the world, and a bite and a spit.
Do you know what? He
is
knows
the worst
as well.
thing in football.
There's one angle where he goes down and immediately sees...
He's not helping himself by holding his teeth here, to be fair, is he? I know he's alleging he actually got smacked.
He goes down, and when he's actually going down, Suarez kind of looks at him and immediately goes like that, as if, you know, I'm going to have to try and get out of this somehow.
Absolutely.
Such a shame.
So one assumes FIFA will now look at that, and I suppose it's like in the Premier League, on something like this, then they can take action and ban him from the tournament. I mean, certainly common sense would dictate that's what should happen now, even if the referee's then going to say he saw it but thought it was fine or something.
We'll wait for the referee's report to see whether he's seen anything or what, and then obviously take it from there.
Or the amount of matches he's going to have to miss, whether it's out of the tournament completely, but if it's 2 matches or whatever, they cannot get away with that.
Son got 3 games for his elbow, didn't he?
There you go.
You know, so it's like...
I just can't believe. I cannot believe it. Can't believe he's done that.
I was just thinking, Brendan Rodgers is presumably watching this film. What on earth is he going to think at this moment?
Well, he was chilling for a bit, I would have thought, watching it, thinking, yeah, everything's good, he's fit, everything's kind of cool, and he's seen that. Must be a nightmare.
Look how he celebrated after the England result, scoring the 2 goals. They've now got through to the last 16.
He knows, doesn't he?
He knows something's happened.
So I wonder how he explains his behaviour to... What does he say to his colleague now? I said, I did it again, I can't believe it. It's
up to me. It's like, what does it say to your wife? I mean, the first call I'd get him, I'd have done something like that. The missus would be on saying, what are you doing?
With the Ivanovic situation, his missus said to him, and he said it, he's let his family know, his missus said, what is wrong with you? Why are you doing this? And this is why I say, people will say, what do you mean you feel sorry? I feel sorry for him because he's not in control of himself in situations like this, and it manifests when he's obviously in a stadium. That's when it comes out for him.
He's got to put it right, though, Ian.
He has to.
Somehow, off the pitch.
I remember I said, when it happened, I said that, you know what, that he needs to see someone, seriously talk to someone about it.
But they've done all that at Liverpool.
I believe he's had some help at Liverpool with that, but obviously it's not worked. Because that is just a carbon copy of what he's done before, that split second where he's not quite sure. He looks at him there, and that is definitely...
Had a look at it. When you know, we see the Ramirez trying to pull his shirt up and said, hide it from the cameras, presumably. But
I think Chiellini's action of like this looks like, but he's trying to get him off.
Well, I think that's what I'd do if somebody bit me on the shoulder.
It's like being stung by a wasp. You get stung by a wasp and react to it, and I just can't, can't understand what he's.
All right, we'll take a little break. But no, he's just applauding the fans. A big hug from his opposite number. Roy Hodgson still leaves with a lot of friends around this part of the world, but we'll talk more about England's performance shortly. Costa Rica 0, England 0 in their last game. They're now off home. It was Frank Lampard's 106th appearance for England's 106th cap. Will it be his last? We don't know yet, but he's talking to Gabriel.
I don't know, it's pointless comparing them.
And away to the fans, there was a long goodbye with the fans at the end there. Clearly that's something the players needed to show.
Yeah, I mean, we needed to show. I mean, look at them up there. I mean, they're singing away. We've got knocked out. We're England. We expect more. They expect more, and we couldn't deliver. But I tell you what, the way they've been there, and actually following us throughout, and England fans, they've been an absolute credit. It's a shame that we couldn't do enough to take them through and give them a longer trip.
And it's been a disappointment, I know. But does the fact that it's been a disappointment for you mean you might give it another go?
I don't know. I really enjoyed being involved there today. I love playing for my country. That's obvious. I'm 36 and I'm still doing it. I feel fresh. If I can feel like I can offer something, I will do. But at the minute, it's too soon to say.
Thank you, Frank.
Thank you. Cheers.
So Lampard and Gerrard go off to consider their futures. This is the group table. Costa Rica end up going through top place, Uruguay, by virtue of beating 10-man Italy 1-0. Wasn't the half of it in Natal. If you're just joining us, you won't know that it looks very much like Luis Suarez has been involved in a biting incident again when the score was still 0-0. But then Godin then went on to put Uruguay ahead and take them through. England finished not pointless but rock bottom of the table. We'll go into that Suarez incident again very shortly, but well, let's look at England's performance now. That is what we're here for, rather than biting analysis. It's been more like a dentist's conference here in the last 5 minutes. Where should we start? What about what Sturridge got up to today?
I thought he looked sharp. I think on a different day he gets a couple of goals and they win the game 2-0. I think they created enough chances to certainly win the game, and I think he'd be disappointed with a couple of his efforts. Certainly sitting next to Righty, and you know, listen, the thing is with him, Ian, though, he keeps going,
yeah.
and we've seen this season how sharp he's in front of goal. So when Roy says they're getting the chances, he's not worried about that. That's a good thing. They're not getting any chances, but he's a good finisher. We've seen that with Liverpool this season.
Lallana gave us a lot to be excited about. Some disappointment he hadn't started in the first two games. Some disappointment that he came off in this game.
Well, I was surprised he came off, because I thought even first half he looked to get in behind from midfield and stretch them, and Frank Lampard. Yeah, there's the goal similar to the goal against Italy, but it's movement off the ball. We haven't had enough of it. We've been getting plenty of possession, particularly in this game. But now look at that. It's a great run. They're the runs that opens teams up. And the kid for me, I mean, I call him a kid. He's disappointed coming off, and the game was, for me as well, the game was just opening up.
Yeah,
there was getting loads of space where he could have, and Wilshere could have really done some damage.
Adam's the kind of player as well. Like he's had that run and he's starting to build into it. He's the kind of player who would only do better things.
Yeah, and
I can't understand in a game where it's all over for us. Why not just play him for the 90 minutes? That was quite confusing for me.
Well, the tournament generally has been fabulously entertaining, a feast of goals, brilliant stuff, but tragically, really, all we're going to be talking about for the next couple of days, I think what's going to make all the headlines, is this Luis Suarez incident late in the second half. We'll have a look at this after the break, but it does look very much like he bit Chiellini again. I can't believe he's done it again. Chiellini certainly fell. The news in Brazil is that England didn't lose 0-0 against Costa Rica. Uruguay have qualified for the next round, but you wouldn't think it from his expression. He's grabbing his teeth, ironically. He's claiming he's been hit, but we're almost certain he did bite Chiellini. No joy from him at full time. He must surely expect some kind of punishment now. I mean, we shouldn't be looking at goals, but we've just got to report this. It's almost a news matter now. Just take us through it again as you saw it. Lee.
Well, there was definitely a coming together as he ran into the box. Chiellini, they sort of get shoulder to shoulder, and then he's got his back facing him, and he just, for me, he just looks like...
We should point out there was no yellow card shown to anybody in that instance.
That's the problem. You know, we've got to see whether he gets away with it or not.
Yeah.
Are FIFA going to come step in and he needs to be banned?
Yeah.
I mean, I don't want to see one of the best players in the world banned from this tournament. But you cannot, as I've said before, you can't have that example on a football pitch. You do that in a street somewhere, you're in prison.
We should make it clear that we've checked the FIFA rules, and I think this is pretty unprecedented, as you said earlier, but the disciplinary committee of FIFA can take retrospective action on this, so they can have a look at it. It is within their power. We should point out actually that it was 0-0 at the time. They were playing, I think there was about 10-15 minutes left, and they were playing Italy. Were down to 10. Italy are now out.
Like I say with the Suarez thing, there is that. You know, he's scored 2 goals against England. He's come from injury. He's played in the game. He's answered all the critics. He was delighted, put it on YouTube how happy he was. And for him to do this, I just cannot understand what is going through his mind, why he's done that. I just can't understand it.
Let's leave him apart now. What about England, Glenn? Give us an uplifting thought to go away with.
I think, analysing this game, we've had chances to have won 2 football matches. You know, we were a far better team. I don't think they turned up today. They certainly weren't as good as they have been in the tournament so far. They're already through. But from England's point of view, I saw some really better movement from us, a little bit of freedom from Lallana at times and Barclay, Wilshere. You know, they'll be better. Shaw, second half, I thought Shaw was excellent. Even in his defending, when he got chased back there, he didn't make the tackle, wasn't rash. That's all a learning curve for youngsters going forward. So there's some positives.
I think there's lots of positives, but I think there's an awful lot of pattern of play work to do from now until the qualifiers and beyond. So we've got 2 years to the next tournament, but still positive. Let's stay that way.
OK, we have 2 more live games tomorrow afternoon on ITV. Lionel Messi and Argentina take on Nigeria. Over on ITV4, it's Bosnia-Herzegovina against Iran. Both programmes start at 4 o'clock. So England's involvement is now over. Uruguay are through. Remains to be seen whether they've bitten off more than they can chew, though. But let's not forget, we are left with the most entertaining World Cup anyone can remember. Things could be worse. From Rio, from Lee, Ian, Glenn and me, a very good evening.
Every time I get no further, how long has it been? I've done this before, and I will do it again. Come on and kill me, baby, while you smile like a friend. Oh, and I'll come running. Just to do it again. You are the last drink I never should have drunk. You are the habit I can't seem to kick. You are my secrets on the front page every week. You are the car I never should have bought. You are the train I never should have caught. You are the cut that makes me hide my face. You are the party that makes me feel my age. Like a cockroach I can sever, but I just can't avoid. Like a plane I can tow, I never support. Like a film that's so bad, but I gotta stay till the end. Let me tell you now, let's keep on in my head.
Sturridge has got in behind. Oh, whisper away. And this is the last we're going to see of England at these World Cup finals.
Brasil, Brasil.